I ever tell you the definition of insanity?
Yeah, we're here at Gamescom 2012 in Cologne, and we just got to play a sweet demo of Far Cry 3. And with me is the lead game designer of Far Cry 3, Jamie Keane. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Now, what we got to see here was some pretty amazing stuff. An open world demo. You could basically go all from hunting bears to securing safe spots and stuff like that. And what we saw at E3 was kind of more a story-focused demo. So how do you balance that in game? How do you balance freedom and story in that way?
Well, I mean, I think that this is the thing. The open world is very much about freedom and about you going off and being able to explore and discover the island. What we've shown so far has been much more the kind of the narrative moment. So we want to have both of these elements of the game. We want this experience that is a kind of a driven narrative story, but also we want to have a really genuine open world sort of sandbox experience where, I mean, like you just experienced yourself, you just get to run off and you get to kind of choose where you go and fight, who you fight, how you get involved with stuff. We want to make sure that you have both ends of that experience so we don't compromise anywhere on quality across the board.
So during D3 demo, you should have like some nudity and some killing tigers and stuff like that, and like drug-infused nightmares. How do you make sure that stays classy and tasteful?
I think that the main thing that we're trying to do with this is we're trying to tell a story, and it's a story. It's an emotional story. It's a story about Jason's journey as he makes his way through the island, and how he meets these different characters, and how he makes sure that when he is meeting these people, that we want it to be an intense experience. We want it to be this emotional experience. We want you to feel what Jason's going through as he's going through this stuff. So the things that we're using to tell that story, I mean, it is a mature story, and we want it to come across that way. So we don't want to pull punches. We want you to feel the same kind of emotions that Jason feels when he goes through these situations. It's a really intense area for him. You know, his friends are being kidnapped, his family being killed in front of his eyes. I mean, we want you to feel that as much as possible. So it's going to be pretty out there, and we want to make sure that experience permeates through the entire game.
So playing through the demo, kind of got the impression that you could stealth your way through it, or you could just go balls to the wall crazy, and you also unlock skill points and stuff like that. So can you like create your own specific killing machine? Can you go stealth on through the entire game? It's one of our really massive watchwords. When we talk about the 360 approach, we talk about making sure that we enable players as much as possible. It's all about choice at the end of the day. It's all about making sure that people can choose the way that they want to play. And we give you all the tools and we give you all the toys for you to play with, and then you decide how you engage it. So yeah, if you're a stealth player, I mean, it's a really important part of the game for us. If you just want to go through the entire game and not get detected, we give you the tools that are going to kind of enable that experience. Like you can buy silencers for the guns, you can buy skills that are going to make you more stealthy as you move through the world. It's also a lot about the kind of the small tactical decisions you're making about when you choose to get involved in stuff. When you probably played through one of the outposts, you can just like toss in Molotovs if you want to. You can like lure in animals and get them to run through. Or if you take a bit of time, you can kind of spot things through the camera, get involved, make sure that you understand what's going on, and before you get involved in the situation, you take it a little bit more gently, get involved and take things down. We also want the game to reward you for doing that. So it definitely pays off both ways, but it's really up to you how you want to play the game. So the series has kind of an interesting history. You started out with the original for the PC, and then a bunch of console spin-offs, and then you did the second one, which was its own thing, and now you're going in another direction. How did you decide upon what to do with this game?
I think we're very lucky that we do have this kind of rich DNA to pull from with the Far Cry titles that have come from before. I mean, Far Cry 1, obviously you've got this great kind of island setting. Far Cry 2, it's a very, very different theme, but it's kind of got this real gritty reality, and so we get to kind of pick and choose the things that we want. We then also thought, okay, look, these games have been great, but we want to kind of make our own thing here, so we put it on the island. We want to tell this gritty story, but I think also we want to make sure that this time around it's much more about a kind of a human scale, that the narrative that's happening, that's going on with Jason, is very much about what's happening to him, and the immediacy of that, and making sure that the things that he's feeling when he's engaging with the different characters are very much about, things that are happening to him. He's not some space marine that's going to save the universe. He's not some super soldier that's going to completely kill everybody. It's about his story and about the people that matter to him and how he deals with that situation.
So what are you doing for multiplayer?
Multiplayer, I mean, what aren't we doing for multiplayer, frankly? I mean, we've got PvP, we've got co-op modes, we've also got the in-game editor as well. So, I mean, there's a whole raft of things that people can get involved in, depending on what kind of play experience they want to have. The PvP is your very classic kind of like PvP. It's, that's just if you want to go in there and shoot guys in the face, pretty much.
Are you doing some co-op?
Yes, we're doing co-op as well. Yeah, we showed that at E3 as well. So yes, we've got full co-op mode as well with different characters that are going to come in as well. And then also on top of that, there's the in-game editor, which I think people really love from Far Cry 2, and it's something that's very close to our hearts as well, that we want to make sure that we're pulling that out too and bringing it back, giving it back to the community.
What kind of features do you have in the editor?
It's very much like the Far Cry 2 one as well. I mean, that was something that we really, it's a great place to go from. We're very lucky to have that to go from as well. This time round, I think we're really trying to push more of the kind of the social element. So I think it could sometimes be a bit difficult to find things with the Far Cry 2 ones. This time round, we've introduced kind of ranking for maps, search facilities, those kind of things. So you can really make sure that your maps, if they're popular, will be found by other people that are out there playing.
The multiplayer, is that gonna like pull some of the cool stuff from the single player with the skill points, upgrading your character and stuff like that?
I think longevity over time is very important. The profile will be common across all the multiplayer modes. So if you're playing co-op or if you're playing PvP, it's all going to be feeding into the same kind of experience bucket. So if you develop your character, if you unlock weapons, if you unlock new skills, that'll stay constant between both of them. There are thematic similarities between the single and the multiplayer, definitely, but the multiplayer profile will be a unified profile across all the different modes.
Cool. So lastly, when is the game coming out?
We're coming out on December the 4th.
On which platforms?
Platforms on the Xbox 360, PS3 and PC.
Thank you so much for your time, I really appreciate it.
Yes, no, it's a pleasure.
And keep tuning into GRTV for more Gamescom 2012 coverage.